cars are getting more and more expensive. With that being said, we've decided to break down the 10 most luxurious cars in the world. Number 10, Mercedes-AMG S65. Though soon to be overhauled, with the all-new S-Class as the base car, the mechanical makeup of the top-of-the-range performance version of the outgoing S-Class limousine hasn't changed much in more than a decade. Since this car has a leviathan of a twin-turbocharged petrol V12 that produces 621 horsepower and 738 foot-pounds of torque, you could argue it hasn't needed to. It's an engine capable of sending a rear-driven limousine from 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 4.2 seconds. And that's before it's really settled down, found its legs, and got going. Don't forget. And yet, the S65 is still a proper luxury car with uncompromising ride comfort and refinement, which is why it gets a mention at the foot of our superior luxury class rankings. It offers onboard comfort unknown to anything else of quite the same performance level. And its huge reserves of torque make it so effortlessly potent to drive that it's hard to believe how little you need to do to make something so large travel so quickly. Number 9, Alpina B7. If it's exclusivity you crave, don't be fooled by the BMW badge on the long bonnet of the Alpina B7. Of all the supremely special and rare cars on this list, perhaps only the Mercedes Maybach is unlikely to hover in your view on public roads. The $200,000 piece reflects that. However, B7's true calling card is the sublime rolling refinement to go along with its combination and almost sports car levels of body control and a degree of agility totally out of kilter with the luxury saloon clique. It is an exceptionally well-rounded machine, and only Bentley's Continental Flying Spur gets the better of it in this respect. Number 8, Range Rover SV Autobiography. The top-rung long-wheelbase Range Rover has come a long way as a luxury car since the genesis days of the famous SUV upon which it's based. The modern SV Autobiography was conceived to take full advantage of the embryonic market for super expensive SUVs and the high regard some have for the Range Rover brand, and it does so quite effectively. Ride comfort and isolation both represent a step up from that car. Although neither is quite in the league of the most refined cars in this niche, some sharper edges seem to test the structural limits of the car's underbody, thudding through the ride's composure slightly. Number 6, Bentley Bentayga. The Bentayga has had an eventful passage through the Autocar road test evaluation process. In 2018, amid the spreading toxicity surrounding diesel engines, Bentley removed the Bentayga diesel from sale in Europe, and with it, removed from view what we considered the definitive version of the car. A V8 petrol model augmented the model range in the same year, while a plug-in hybrid arrived in 2019. The Bentayga's wonderfully plush interior, its swell of torque-laden performance, and its sense of imperiousness, singularly enveloping luxury, make it stand out even in this class, and these qualities might even be potent enough to win over a cynic who started out opposed to the idea of a life in a blue-hooded SUV. Number 5, Bentley Mulsanne. A limousine that's singularly aristocratic, whose presence announces itself from hundreds of yards away and whose agenda is all about serving the interests of the passenger first and the driver a definite second, may sound appealing in theory. But if you suspect the reality of ownership of such a car might not appeal quite as much, don't worry, because the super luxury class has something for you too. The Bentley Mulsanne. Deliberately more modest and discreet in its appearances than a certain key British limousine rival, the Mulsanne is a top-level luxury four-door that's grand with a small g. It feels less formal than the Rolls-Royce Phantom, and its interior ambience is more like that of the panel smoking room of an old gentleman's club than the Phantom's chandeliered ballroom. The material quality, the luster, and natural appeal of its wood veneers and the tactile allure of so many of its fittings are second to none. A good helping of driver appeal has always been a part of this big Bentley's mode of character. And so, while the Mulsanne doesn't ride quite as serenely as some of its closest competition, it handles and responds with more vigor and verve, thanks to its petrol V8. What results in a car that may not quite have the same luxury and high notes as the very best cars in the class, but that you might end up using more often. Not just for special occasions, but because it feels ready to enrich a wider range of journeys. Number 4. Mercedes-Maybach S-Class. The richest and most special car in what might be the most universally respected and admired limousine range in the world, the Mercedes-Maybach S-Class is the modern standard-bearer for Daimler's Maybach super luxury brand. To judge by appearances, you'd say it was at least as much S-Class as Maybach, and that's the result of Daimler's strategic decision, taken a few years ago, to broaden the reach of the Maybach marque by creating Halo Maybach models across some of its more normal Mercedes passenger car ranges. The ultra-rare Simon Cowell spec Maybach, only 57 and 62 limousines, were at the same time consigned to history. And so the fact that this car is only an S-Class may at once be its biggest strength and its key vulnerability. Compared to a Rolls-Royce or Bentley, an S-Class might not cut a lot of mustard for drool-worthy curbside appeal, but being an S-Class also makes this car the recipient of all those advanced active suspension and driver-assisting technologies, and helps to make so brilliantly refined, rich, and cassetting. Number 3. Bentley Flying Spur. Bentley's four-door Continental Series limousine started off its modern life as the Continental Flying Spur in 2006, only dropping the nomenclature prefix that links it with the Cruze current two-door GT with its biggest model overhaul yet in 2014. But the Flying Spur is now in its third generation, something that's not difficult to detect from the prouder, more muscular design, which borrows heavily from the most recent attractive Continental GT Coupe. Cruze Junior Saloon also benefits dramatically from a new platform, which was co-developed with Porsche and uses four-wheel steering and active anti-roll bars. It also better insulates the fantastically opulent cabin from the road and provides the basis for genuinely good driving dynamics. Grip, balance, and steering are all noticeably improved. Never before has the Spur felt so complete then, and so able to execute the role of supersonic luxury driver's car. And much of that is still down to the cabin. Even though it's Bentley's entry-level limousine, the Flying Spur offers an interior of genuinely luxurious ambience and feel, kitted out as it is, with soft, beautifully stitched leathers, authentic natural veneers, and eye-catching and tactile metal brightwork. Number 2. Rolls-Royce Ghost. The Ghost was a line in the sand for Rolls-Royce when it appeared in 2009, the beginning of a transformation that took the company's annual production volume from hundreds to several thousand cars per year. Now in its second generation, the Phantom's understudy has evolved substantially. Where the Ghost's mechanical underpinnings were once adopted from those of the BMW 7 Series, it now shares the same architecture of luxury platform as the Cullinan and Phantom. There are also innovations such as Rolls-Royce mass dampeners for the front suspension and an active anti-roll bar for the rear axle, both of which help bring ride quality closer than ever to that of the Phantom. However, while the Phantom is very much a car in which to be driven, the Ghost was intended as a car for the well-heeled driver, and its dynamic character reflects that. Slightly tottered riding and more agile than the Phantom, partly by virtue of its more compact proportions, it lends itself more readily to the cut and thrust of daily motoring and traffic-clogged UK roads than its bigger brother. And yet, in terms of interior space, luxury ambience, and sheer material quality, the car sits only the smallest of rungs below its bigger brother, adopting as it does Rolls-Royce's new post-opulence design approach both inside and out. It's a neoclassical fortress on wheels, but a usable one. Number 1. Rolls-Royce Phantom. The grandest and greatest luxury conveyance in motordom was replaced by Rolls-Royce in 2017 and given a glittering 5-star road test welcomed by our road testers shortly thereafter. Owners will love it as much for the extravagant statement of wealth and status it endows, and for the unmatched sense of occasion you enjoy when traveling in one. But while many won't ever know as much, the latest Phantom is also an utter joy and a rare pleasure to drive. Its superbly comfortable and singularly isolating ride comfort can be sampled from the back seats, of course, and is like nothing you'll ever encounter in a car. Gently loping, and deliciously indulgent feeling, but also supremely quiet and smooth, despite Rolls-Royce's fitment of the latest run-flat tire technology. Yet the precision feel and perfect weight of the car's large-rimmed steering wheel is remarkable, likewise with ease with which you can place such a huge car on the road. The tolerance it has for whatever rate of progress suits your trip, this supreme refinement and flexibility of its V12 engine, and the progressiveness of its throttle pedal on step-off. Even though it's a near 3-ton love song to splendid isolation, this car will accelerate from 0 to 100 miles per hour and from 30 to 70 miles through the gears quicker than the last Ford Focus RS. The integrity of its engineering is simply breathtaking. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss on any new content. This has been our breakdown of the 10 most luxurious cars in the world.